Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everyone, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to today's TP Talks webinar. Today, I'm joined by Kerry McKelvey, the Vice President of Marketing at Amtrak. Today, Kerry will share with us how one of the country's most iconic brands was able to transform and digitalize their customer experience journey. But first, let me introduce myself. I'm Rebecca Brown. I'm your moderator for today. I'm Executive Vice President and Customer Experience Strategist with Teleperformance. Before we begin, I need to cover a few housekeeping items. As you'll notice, there are several related resources available for you to download in the Resources widget to the right of your screen. This webinar is designed to be interactive. You will see multiple icons at the bottom of your console. If you have any questions, as we'd love for you to interact with us, please submit your questions in the Q&A window on the left of your screen. Do this anytime during this conversation, and we will address them during our designated Q&A session toward the end. And should you have any technical issues, please click on the Help widget. It's the box that looks like a question mark. And finally, if you would like to reach us, please use the email widget. I'll be introducing Kerry in a few moments, but first, for any of you who are newcomers, what is TP Talks? As curators of the customer experience, we are pleased to bring you this series of webinars. TP Talks is packaged into 30-minute bite-sized webinar segments and designed to help you as curators of customer experience at your respective companies, to help you learn from best practices, big trends, innovations, and real-world success stories from people like yourselves. Teleperformance has worked diligently with our clients to curate this content for you, and there are several of these available on demand. You can access them in the Resource widget to the right of your screen. Your host of TP Talks is Teleperformance. Teleperformance has been serving leading industry brands for more than 4 decades with a multitude of services, including customer care, technical support, customer acquisition, digital solutions, analytics, back office, and other specialized services to ensure consistent and positive customer interactions. In all of these areas, Teleperformance is committed to partnering with our clients to find innovative ways to manage obstacles and succeed. This webinar is a reflection of our commitment to that very concept. We're particularly proud of the awards that we win and the recognition we get from both analysts as well as our clients for the ability to help curate their customer experience. Making a palpable difference for our clients' brands is a manifestation of our mission. Now on to our featured guest. Kerry McKelvey is an accomplished Fortune 50 marketing executive with 20-plus years of VP and C-level experience. He joined Amtrak in 2017 to oversee several areas, including brand management, advertising, digital marketing, the Guest Rewards loyalty program, customer relations, reservation centers, social media, e-commerce, and international marketing and distribution. In his previous role as Regional VP of Marketing and Sales for Comcast Cable, he led the company's largest of 16 regions with $5 billion in annual revenue and 2.4 million customers. So without further ado, I give you Kerry McKelvey.
Thank you, Rebecca, and thanks everyone for joining us. Let me start off with a brief overview of Amtrak. Amtrak was created by Congress in 1970 to take over the majority of the intercity passenger rail services previously operated by private railroad companies in the United States. We're not a government agency, but we're a federally chartered corporation with the federal government as our majority stockholder. We have more than 20,000 employees, and for the 4th year in a row, Amtrak earned a spot on Forbes magazine's list of America's best employers. We operate a nationwide rail network, and we serve more than 500 destinations in 46 states and 3 Canadian provinces on more than 21,000 miles of routes. During fiscal year 2018, Amtrak customers took almost 32 million trips and carried more than 3 times as many riders between Washington, D.C. and New York City as all of the airlines combined. We operate 15 long-distance trains whose routes range in length from about 800 miles to nearly 3,000 miles across the country. In fiscal year 2018, Amtrak posted record revenues of $3.4 billion, and we're on track to reduce our annual adjusted operating loss to 0, which will be a first in Amtrak's 50-year history. We are the only nation's high-speed intercity passenger rail provider, and we operate at speeds up to about 150 miles per hour, but we're going to have all new Acela trains beginning in 2021, and we'll be able to go up to about 160 miles per hour. You can see a preview of our new Acela train on this slide in the background. We're very excited about it. So let me move into Amtrak's digital journey and some of our lessons learned. Our digital journey really started with our customers' migration from traditional customer service channels, which are call center, station agents, or travel agents, to self-service channels, including our Amtrak.com, our mobile app, kiosks, and B2B booking tools. Back in 2004, about 61% of our customers used traditional customer service channels, but by this year, in 2019, that number has dropped to 16%, and nearly 70% of our customers are booking through Amtrak's mobile app and our website. Our mobile app was launched in 2012 and has grown to nearly 17% share of book ticket revenue. And in FY19, we've adopted a mobile-first strategy for all of our e-commerce development. Now, through our digital journey, we've discovered that we're talking to an entirely new generation of customers that expect us to engage with them using their preferred technology versus them adapting to our traditional methods. And to continue to grow our ridership, we've really begun focusing on millennials, and we've targeted some key segments including professionals, experience seekers, and family travelers. We've learned that our new millennial customers turn to their mobile devices when researching travel options 3 times as often as they consult with their friends or family, and about 4.5 times as often as they turn to any offline resources. We've also learned that our millennial customers would prefer to engage with us via social media, text, or chat versus any of our traditional call center phone calls or with our station agents.
So, Kerry, you have made some major changes. I'm curious to learn from you, what has been the feedback from your customers and how have these changes impacted your CSAT, particularly among millennials?
Well, we perform our customer satisfaction surveys on a monthly basis, and we have a short form and then we get in depth. And not surprisingly, probably one of the biggest drivers of CSAT for our millennial customers is Wi-Fi on our trains and our stations, and especially on our trains. And that doesn't surprise any of us, and so there's been significant effort to continue to improve the reliability and consistency and speed of Wi-Fi on all of our trains. We also have seen a driver being their millennials' ability to get information about train delays through their mobile devices or through social media channels, and we've set up social media teams to send out tweets whenever there's a delay or a cancellation, which they much appreciate. Also, not surprisingly, millennials as well as everyone else, there's nothing that drives satisfaction more than clean restrooms on the trains, and that will never change. And then we have offered some new fares to millennials that has really made a difference. We find that many millennials like to travel together. The automobile has been, one of our biggest competitors, and so we've introduced a share fare program where if 4 up to 6 millennials will travel together, they can get larger and larger discounts depending on how many book a ticket together. So that's been, a big factor in growing satisfaction.
And Kerry, I'm also curious, with the increase in the number of channels and the various ways that you are now interacting with your customers, it's got to be quite a challenge to ensure consistency. So how do you ensure consistency in your message across those channels, as well as making sure that you're meeting your customer expectations, both for millennials as well as across all generations?
And that's a great question. And we've been engaged for about a year now on a major omni-channel project. And this project will integrate all of our channels. It will provide a common user interface, provide the customer with cross-platform integration, and all of our customers will have access to all fares available, discounts, ancillary products, and information regardless of whether they choose to book online, use our mobile app, call a service representative, speak to a station agent in person, or engage with us in social media or a virtual assistant.
Got it. Thank you, Kerry. And let's back up for a minute and talk about how you developed this digital journey plan in the first place. Can you talk about how you used analytics to help you identify really what your customers were looking for?
Sure. In order for us to continue to develop our self-service functionality, one of the things we did is we worked with Teleperformance and their TP Client tool to have agents enter a disposition at the end of their calls. And over 1 month and about 25,000 dispositions, we learned the key drivers of phone calls and developed recommendations to improve and enhance our self-service channels. Now, we found that about 40% of our calls were made to update or change a reservation, or just to confirm a reservation, or just get some general price or discount inquiry. So we were able to use this information, and we prioritized our creative changes, and we developed our mobile app, website, and IVR to simplify these reservation modifications, to provide easier to find information on prices and discounts, and make it much easier for them to confirm their trip. And with these changes and other self-service enhancements, we're seeing an annual reduction in call volume of about 6 to 8%.
Those are phenomenal numbers, Kerry. So you had mentioned TP Client, which is a proprietary tool that we use at Teleperformance for CRM purposes. But what other technology tools is Amtrak using to enhance the customer experience?
Yeah, we've got a number of things that we're using, in our customer experience group. In addition to TP Client, we use Adobe Analytics for real-time data associated with our customer behavior, with ridership, with loyalty engagement. And as we integrate all of our digital channels with the omnichannel project I just discussed, we'll have a greater ability to target, upsell, and engage our customers in a much more personalized manner. We're putting a lot of effort next year into personalization. We also conduct customer usability testing, and we use tools by Sketch and Envision, and these tools provide us the ability to generate wireframes for our concept designs and generate digital prototypes for testing and qualitative research. We also use Social Studio, and with our social media team, we conduct social listening. We draw data from our social channels, and we'll crawl the web and determine customer sentiment after we launch a new web release or a new mobile app release. And then on our customer relations team, we use Salesforce, and we capture customer inquiries, and we monitor our responsiveness and the effectiveness in resolving our customer issues and making sure that we improve the customer experience.
Kerry, I understand that you also have somewhat recently implemented an intelligent virtual assistant. And I'm sure our audience would be curious to hear about that, as well as hear about how has it reduced your call volume as well as your AHT.
Absolutely. We are very happy with our assistant, Julie. We call her Ask Julie. She does a great job for us. And she is our virtual assistant, and she's a chat bot with AI capabilities, and she provides our visitors to our website access to online self-service. She answers questions about train schedules, fares, train status, and allows our customers to book train tickets. And Julie has increased our booking rate by about 25%, and we've seen just this year a 65% year-over-year increase in revenue generated through Julie. We've also seen a reduction of over 20% in those contact us escalations to our call center from our website where people are confused. Julie does much to take care of the questions right then and there and not have the customer have to pick up a phone and call somebody to answer a question. Each year, Julie handles about 20 million calls, answers on average about 5 million questions, and saves us about $1 million a year in customer service expenses.
Wow, that is impressive. So, Kerry, you've made some drastic impacts at Amtrak within a short period of time. Can you talk a little bit about where you go from here? What does the future of customer service look like at Amtrak?
Yeah, absolutely. And, our customer service roadmap includes, what I discussed, our major omnichannel effort, which is a big part of our roadmap. And as I said before, this will provide us a modern and consistent digital experience for our customers. And then we are certainly continuing with our mobile-first strategy, above and beyond, continuing every month to provide enhancements and updates to our mobile app. We're going to continue to develop our text and chat capabilities as well as push notifications through our mobile app. And then right now, Amtrak is receiving between 7,000 and 10,000 interactions a week via our social media channels. And we're going to continue to grow our social media engagement resources to make sure that we handle all of these interactions, and I'm sure they'll continue to grow. And then development, we're very excited about, is nearly complete to add train status information to Amazon Alexa, and we're soon going to expand that capability to Siri and other virtual assistants. So we're moving down that direction as well.
Excellent. So Kerry, we've had a number of questions come in as you've been talking, so I'm going to throw out some questions from our audience at this point. We've got one that is, how do you think that social media is changing the BPO industry?
I think it's just evolving. As we look at the BPO industry, as far as we're concerned, the most important thing for us is to interact with our customers, handle questions, book revenue, book tickets, and I think the BPOs are a big help for us, regardless of whether it's through traditional voice or they're texting with our customers or moving into social engagement. And I think probably the change is that BPOs have become more flexible, maybe bringing in a new type of agent that has capabilities that maybe traditional agents don't have. But I think it certainly creates a situation where all of us work together to put together the best way for us to handle our customer engagement, customer inquiries, regardless of whether it's through a computer or a text or through voice.
Great. And here's a follow-up question to your virtual assistant, Julie. We've got a question, what technology is Ask Julie based on? Is it the same as your IVR, Nuance, or something different?
We do, Julie is done through our Nuance, and we also, we have some other companies that work with us on Julie, through the artificial intelligence. I don't have that. I can try to get it to you later. I don't have the exact name of that company at this point.
Okay, no problem. And here's another one. We've got someone asking about chat. How do you use it today, and what plans do you have for how you may use chat in the future?
We are just beginning to get into chat. We are starting with text. A lot of our customers, we send out information on an automatic call notification and texting, and at this point we have not had the capability to receive text back from them and interact. So we're going to begin with text, and then very soon, before the end of the year, we're going to add the chat capability to our website, and we're very excited about that. And we feel like that will also be a game changer in giving more functionality to the website and to our customers, and for those that do not want to call us, to have that chat capability directly on the site. So we're just getting into it and very excited about the launch of that.
Excellent. I'm curious, Kerry, we had another question come in about your customer demographics. You think of Amtrak as such a traditional brand, but yet you're attracting a lot of millennials now with all these changes. So can you talk a little bit about how your customer demographic has changed since over the last couple of years since going down this digital journey?
Yeah, and we do have a number of different products, and I think if you look at the different product lines that we do have our long-distance trains that I talked about earlier, and that typically does skew to an older demographic. But along the East Coast corridor between Washington and Boston, and certainly we have state partner trains throughout the country, we're definitely seeing our demographic skewing younger and younger on those trains, on some of those short-haul trains. We're finding, especially with millennials, I think everybody is seeing this, that they're not all excited about getting their driver's license and driving. They've very much adopted Uber and Lyft, and also they're very excited about having the opportunity to take Amtrak trains, on their weekend getaways, or if they're going back and forth from college or visiting friends and family. So we're seeing the demographics skew younger and younger on our city-to-city trains. We're very excited about that, and that's been really the emphasis for on building out these self-service channels and putting the focus on the mobile app.
Got it. So looking down the list, and we've got quite a few questions here, so this is obviously a topic that's very interesting to people. What about, change is hard. Did you get any internal pushback when you were trying to implement these changes? And if so, how did you overcome that pushback?
I don't think, absolutely, and I don't think pushback is the best term for it. I think for us, it's really just kind of the old adage of old habits die hard, and I think people for so many years were used to calling up a call center, booking a ticket, getting information, printing out a schedule, and it's just from our customers that have been with us, and we've had a very stable group of riders and customers over the years. It's just, I think, making them aware that we have new channels available, and the thing that really helps with getting the transition, most of our customers really do want to use the self-service channels through either the mobile app or through the website, and it's just adding more functionality, making sure that we pay very close attention to the customer experience, make it very easy for them to use these channels, make it very intuitive, and then again, adding the key functionality. And one example there is on the mobile app, starting in about 3 weeks, we are adding a wallet capability to our mobile app. And I know that seems rudimentary to many companies already have that in place, but we are adding key functionality for people to be able to store their credit cards and things that will certainly help adoption and make that channel much easier for people to use and to ease that transition from the way that they traditionally book tickets or got information from us.
Excellent. Great addition to the app. Here's another one that came in. Somebody's asking, they would love to know if you plan to use agents that are able to handle voice, SMS, and chat simultaneously, or if you would bucket those and have them handle one channel. And can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think right now the strategy that we're using is we will have different people depending on what's going on. I think that there are different skill sets and different interests, and we certainly want people to to be in the best place for them where they can embrace how they're working with the customer. And I think that we found that there are certain agents that do very, very well one-on-one on the phone, and we have other representatives or agents that come in that are very familiar with social media and able to engage on social media and very familiar with texting or SMS, and that's something that easier for them to engage in. And I think in terms too on the practicality of how many customers they can serve at a time, it makes more sense to split that up by different agents and not ask one agent or representative to try to do all three of those things.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. So here's another one for you, Kerry. Does Amtrak envision the evolution of their digital front office impacting any of your current back office tasks?
That's always a challenge, I think, for any company. And we use a reservation system that has been around for a long time, and it's a solid reservation system. And so we have no desire to make any changes there. But certainly all the enhancements and all the things that we do in e-commerce affects how that interacts with our reservation system. And so we have a very, very solid and very creative IT team here at Amtrak, and they're doing a very good job putting front end onto the reservation system that can handle a lot of the enhancements that we're doing. But that's always something that we have to take into account, and that certainly impacts the development time that we have.
And here's another one for you, Kerry. We've got quite a list here. What tactics do you use to change or update customer perception of Amtrak? and demonstrate how this is not the Amtrak that it was 5 to 10 years ago?
Yeah, it's kind of the old, it's not your father's Oldsmobile type of thing. But yes, we
Exactly.
had we just launched our new ad campaign back in April and May, and we spent a lot of time with our ad agency, and we did focus groups and research, and we found some very interesting things about our brand that our customers and customers to be, they see us. Amtrak is a very classic brand, but they also see us as very exciting, and so that gave us a great opportunity to kind of put those two together. And so we came up with and launched back in, again, the April-May timeframe, a whole campaign around Get Carried Away. And they were about, 97% digital with our campaign. So we've developed a campaign for digital display, YouTube video, and paid search. And so that's, one thing that we've done to, really change the way people view us, to appeal to a younger customer base. If you, as you see, the images that we've put out there, they certainly reflect a very diverse and multicultural audience, and it makes a big difference on how we're perceived.
Absolutely. And then we've got one more question here about how you deal with repetitive responses, how you change people's perception in regard to responding with social media replies instead of the more typical phone call or ticket-based options.
We embrace it. That's the way the world is going, and as we, as I discussed earlier, we're seeing 10,000 a week of engagement opportunities and people who want to speak to us or make comments or talk to us through social media, and I see that as a great opportunity for us to connect to different audiences, to different customers, to get more people on the train that maybe didn't consider Amtrak before or put us in their choice set. And so we absolutely embrace it. We're going to, again, expand our resources to engage with as many customers as possible, through social media channels, through Twitter, through Instagram. We have a social media team that is actively out there with influencers and engaging with customers, from our standpoint, as well as responding to questions and things that come in. But we think it's a great opportunity for us, and we're going to continue to build those resources and engage with as many customers as we can.
Kerry, here's an interesting follow-on question to that one. Do you think in the future that social media is going to be the only way to give support and make an experience?
I think for the next few years, it's that is where everything is moving, and we're putting a lot of our effort and emphasis there. But I'm also intrigued by the virtual assistants, and I think that there's other things that are coming up, and it's hard to predict. Technology is changing so quickly, and people's preferences are changing so quickly. I think we need to continue to be very nimble, keep our eyes open. Right now, it certainly appears that everything is moving to social media, but I think we all know how quickly that can change. So we will certainly embrace social media right now, do all we can to engage, but never, take our eye off the ball and continue to see what's the next, engagement that comes up that maybe we haven't thought about that we need to prepare ourselves for.
I think we've got time for about one more question. We've got one here about video kiosks. Does Amtrak have any plans to deploy video kiosks in your stations?
We are launching, or we are coming up with, our kiosks are about 13 years old, and they had about a 5-year life, but we continue to use them. But we are in a project right now to put out next generation kiosks across many of our stations. And we're going to add significantly more functionality. It will be part of our whole omnichannel project. But we do not have plans right now. They will be capable through IP to interact. We don't initially have plans, but If we find that that's something that customers are very interested in, it's something that we can enhance with the kiosks that we're putting out there. But we really believe right now, from what we can see, the kiosks are very useful at some of our stations as a backup, but we see so much moving to mobile and to mobile apps that we don't anticipate really that after maybe the next 5-6 years that we'll even need kiosks. We see everything moving to mobile, but it is a good option for us right now as more and more people become familiar with mobile and migrate to a mobile app. So we will launch the new kiosk, and we will evaluate based on what customers tell us. If they tell us that we'd like to be able to interact via video on the kiosk, then that capability can be added.
Great. Well, we are about at the end of our time. I want to thank you, Kerry, for sharing this amazing digital journey with us. I'm confident that our listeners are going to walk away with some new ideas as well as some renewed energy around their own digital journeys. Before we wrap up, one quick note, one last reminder to download our resources and watch our other webinars on demand in the resource window to the right of your screen. And once again, Kerry, thank you so much for your valuable insights and for your time today. And for everybody else, thank you for joining and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.